the sum of my parts. If the sum of my parts is what makes me my whole, and your parts are different from mine, I've been told, then your parts assembled should not look like mine, and mine should, of course, confirm separate designs. Designs that are different too often in practice, regarded as one using similar tactics, expecting one whole to react as the other, when one is his own and the second another. If this sounds confusing, then you should be me, struggling and striving and yearning to see the world through the parts that belong to the sum, a whole that's not I and I cannot become.
In 1930, the Republican-controlled House of Representatives, in an effort to alleviate the effects of the, anyone? The Great Depression, passed the, anyone? Raised tariffs in an effort to collect more revenue for the federal government. Did it work? Anyone? Anyone know the effects? It did not work, and the United States sank deeper into the Great Depression. Today, we have a similar debate over this. Anyone know what this is, class? Anyone? Anyone seen this before? The Laffer curve. Anyone know what this says? It says that at this point on the revenue curve, you will get exactly the same amount of revenue as at this point. This is very controversial. Does anyone know what Vice President Bush called this in 1980? Anyone?
You have it in this way here. That is the sinus, hyperbolic, and this is 1x. And that is for 2 terms. That is for 4 terms, for 8, and the general solution for whatever you have.
I suggest you stop wasting my time and teach me something! Teach!
Gentlemen, open your text, page 21 of the introduction. Mr. Perry, will you read the opening paragraph of the preface entitled Understanding Poetry?
Understanding Poetry by Dr. J. Evans Pritchard, Ph.D. To fully understand poetry, we must first be fluent with its meter, rhyme, and figures of speech. Then ask 2 questions. 1, how artfully has the objective of the poem been rendered? And 2, how important is that objective? Question 1 rates the poem's perfection. Question 2 rates its importance. And once these questions have been answered, determining the poem's greatness becomes a relatively simple matter. If the poem's score for perfection is plotted on the horizontal of a graph, and its importance is plotted on the vertical, then calculating the total area of the poem yields the measure of its greatness. A sonnet by Byron might score high on the vertical, but only average on the horizontal. A Shakespearean sonnet, on the other hand, would score high both horizontally and vertically, yielding a massive total area, thereby revealing the poem to be truly great. As you proceed through the poetry in this book, practice this rating method. As your ability to evaluate poems in this manner grows, so will your enjoyment and understanding of poetry.
Excrement. That's what I think of Mr. J. Evans Pritchard. We're not laying pipe. We're talking about poetry. How can you describe poetry like American Bandstand? Well, I like Byron. I give him a 42, but I can't dance to it. Now, I want you to rip out that page. Go on. Rip out the entire page. You heard me. Rip it out. Rip it out! Go on. Rip it out! Thank you, Mr. Dalton. Gentlemen, tell you what, not just tear out that page, tear out the entire introduction. I want it gone. History. Leave nothing of it. Rip it out. Rip! Be gone, J. Evans Pritchard, Ph.D. Rip! Shred, tear, rip it out. I want to hear nothing but ripping of Mr. Pritchard. We'll perforate it, put it on a roll.
Not the Bible. You're not going to go to hell for this. Go on. Make a clean tear. I want nothing left of it.
Miss Honey taught us how to spell a long word yesterday. We can spell difficulty.
You couldn't spell difficulty if your life depended on it.
She taught us with a poem.
A poem? How sweet. What poem would that be?
Mrs. D, Mrs. I, Mrs. F, F, I, Mrs. C, Mrs. U, Mrs. L, T, Y.
Teaching to the whole assumes that all students are identical in learning levels, learning styles, and learning abilities. This is never the case in any classroom setting. We must differentiate our instruction in order to afford students many different options, opportunities for absorbing, digesting, assimilating, understanding, and using ideas and information. We must provide an environment where students of different abilities can learn within the same class setting.